Could Romney have said the same thing?
Where's the speaker?
Should be coming from the back. Yeah, let's try it. But we know it works. No, we're not. Oh,
I'm sorry, I touched it.
oh, you touched it?
Yep.
Okay, we'll try it again here.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message. I'm going to reduce taxes. As Governor, Mitt Romney did cut taxes on millionaires like himself, but he raised taxes and fees on everyone else. $1.5 billion, over 1,000 fee hikes on healthcare, on school bus rides, on milk, on driver's licenses, on nursing homes, on lead poisoning prevention, on meat and poultry inspection, on fishermen, gun owners, on nurses, on electricians, on hospitals, on uniforms, on defense services. Romney economics didn't work then and won't work now.
That persuaded more persuadables than any other commercial. Would Democrats have liked that commercial? Not really. That sounded like a conservative message, didn't it? They went through messaging after messaging, testing variety, hundreds of commercials, and ended up that was the number one. It was scientific. It was thoughtful. Every word counted. That is important messaging. On Facebook, he identified 15 million persuadables. You know how big that is? They identified friends of supporters. So they got a supporter and they did a campaign to identify all their friends and push out to their friends. Analyze the friends. Saw those who weren't registered to vote so they could get them to register to vote. Got them to see who voted early. And then get out the vote day. They got these friends to volunteer, got these friends to donate, they got these friends to come to rallies, 45 million followers, and Romney spent $4.7 million on Facebook. 47 million was spent by Obama. Twitter, 33 million followers he had on Twitter. Romney had hardly any, plus some of the other social media. Just look at this. Obama donors, 4.4 million donors, generating $69 million online.
Is that just the legal ones?
Yes, just the legal ones. Romney's legal ones were 1.1 million. That's disgusting. You know, 20 years ago, Republicans were the king at raising funds through direct mail with Richard Viguerie and some of the fundraisers. We lost it, and we got to catch up. Obama had 16 million email addresses, all profiled, all micro-targeted by interest. Romney didn't profile, and he only had 3 million email addresses. Obama had 133 million viewers of videos. They would take a video, send it by email, Facebook, whatever, and all these people would be watching. Romney had 1 million viewers. Obama's TV, Romney people laughed. They said, Obama is crazy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He laughed. What they did is they went to the cable companies, got the data from the cable companies, overlaid it with their persuadables from Facebook and email and knocking on doors and phone calls, overlapped that data and said, our persuadables are watching TV at this time. We're going to spend almost nothing on CNN and local news. Romney spent all of his money on Facebook and CNN and local news. Like the old ways. Obama, they laughed at because he put at 2 in the morning a commercial on Judge Judy. Because that's where the persuadables were. Obama spent $90 million less on TV. He had 600,000 commercials. Romney had 250,000 commercials. Obama had 4,000 employees, trained professionals in messaging and strategy and tactics. 12,700 field staff, 8,000 neighborhood team leaders, and 32,000 highly trained volunteers. Romney had 284 field offices and 61 key staff. We were outdone. And we will be outdone again if we don't put things together properly. But here's the thing. They had the advantage. They took that advantage in Virginia, and the Republican lost because they duplicated it in Virginia. They want to duplicate it in 2014. But data gets stale. The technology they used then is a bit outdated now. Republicans now know about the campaigns. You know what I did when I ran? Most Republicans didn't do it. Obama and the Democrats did it. Hey, there's a thing called modeling. You model your postal names, and then you email to those postal names with a mail, and then you do cookies and do web ads. And the web ads have a thing called retargeting. When I ran for Congress, anybody that went to different microsites, one on the Federal Reserve, one on gun rights, one on whatever the issue was, education, they would get a banner ad, and that banner ad would follow them around. You guys ever see a banner ad follow you around?
Yep.
That's called retargeting. It's one of the most effective things you can do in the campaign. Most Republicans have no clue. Retargeting, what's that? Shooting somebody?
Again?
Now, oftentimes, you have heard the news, you've seen the consultants on Fox News talking about their theories and stuff. Have you heard the idea that Obama is really strange because all he does is campaign? You hear that?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Why is it President Obama started off with Obamacare instead of fixing the economy?
Control.
He wants to transform America into the collectivist state, into the socialist state he wants. The dream state he has. And all of his policies and everything he does moves in that direction. People say, I don't understand it. He doesn't talk to Congress. Oh, he's a terrible person because he's not a statesman. A statesman wouldn't act like that. Well, he's not even talking to Boehner. He doesn't care. When an issue comes up, and he's very disciplined, he never has more than 5 issues. He will go out to college campuses, he will go out to communities, and he will talk on that issue. And people say, he's campaigning, but he's not running. You know what he's doing? He's building his database. He's getting more volunteers. He's getting more of the left upset. He's getting more donors. His whole thing is to build the database. If you don't understand the concept of database marketing, that's what drives commerce today. I did this this is what we do in the business world. He's simply catching politics up to the business world.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he's doing. And we can do that too. We can catch it up. So if this sounds interesting to you, make sure you sign up on that sheet that's going around. Where is that right now? Okay, make sure that gets around. So it's not strange. He's building the database. Now, I'm going to give you 4 disturbing, I call it very disturbing, things that you need to know about before we have a path to victory. Let me give you 4 things that you need to know about. If we had another 2 hours, we'd do more. The first thing is the idea of organizational superiority. The left has really been blessed because some of the progressives, their God is politics. Their God is the state. For most Republicans, to us, this makes sense. This is rational. This is the way society should be. But I love my family. And I love working with my friends. To the left, they've got to transform society. So they die and they leave their houses, they leave their trusts and their wills to these groups that are the foundations that are radical left-wing groups transforming America. And this has set off many groups. One of the largest is Obama's own group. I told you about Organizing for America. It's now called Organizing for Action. This is just one of several dozen groups like this that are going to destroy America for you, your kids, and your grandkids if we don't turn this around. They have over 2 million members. Do you know any conservative group that has 2 million members? They have raised 2013, $26 million. Do you know any conservative group that's raised $26 million? Not Heritage Foundation. Give me another big name. None of them have that type of money. 25% of the donors give $250,000 and up. They have 421,000 donors. That is immense. They have 218 paid volunteers.
What's that?
218 paid. Oh, they're not volunteers.
That's
Well, plus volunteers.
Some of us are
volunteers.
listening. Oh, okay.
They have a list of 30 million email addresses of supporters, and they train 1,700 people every quarter. Train them. What is the training going on? You know who's being trained? If I go to a progressive left group, and I have been, and I have some very personal inside friends who are involved in the higher echelons of the progressive movement in Washington, D.C. You know what happens with these? I'll tell you about one of these groups in a second. You look around the audience and they're all under 30.
Yeah.
Washington is controlled from the bureaucracy and the organizations by those under 30 who have a vision and ideology of transforming America in a way that you don't know and you don't want. They do petitions to build it. Every time Obama has an issue, we got to have gun control. Everywhere, there's petitions to get people to sign for gun control. It won't make a difference, and he knows that. But he gets the people who are upset about gun control on his database. And then he starts raising money from them. La Cunada, Foothills Republican group here, can have petitions locally, statewide, and start raising funds too. Because the Democrats and the local progressive groups are doing that too. And they're using this model to change city legislation, to change county legislation, to transform the states as well as the nation. Community organization, Obama programs, lobbying, advanced database, all the modern marketing techniques. Never in the history has any president had his own volunteer army and political organization, even when he's in office. The whole purpose of this is to support him, and realistically, they do all this stuff, but their main objective is to build a database. This is an example of an online petition. So simple to make. And they tested hundreds and hundreds of ways on how to word it. And all you have to do is follow what they've done because you got the model right there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. They learned, hey, could you, hey, do you know the Republicans are trying to have a war on women? If you agree with us that we got to stop that, will you be willing to give $10? Well, sure, I'll give $10. They go to the $10 page, and then they get the option 10, 20, 50, 100. And people give 50, 100, not $10. But it increases the response. They found out that if I go and I ask for the donation first, and then I click on that, and then I fill out my information, and then I click on that and fill out my credit card, they get higher response. Can't we do that? Of course we can. So you just follow and do better than they do. The second danger is the evil of Obamacare. Covered California is Obamacare in California. Why? Well, listen, we could talk about Obamacare. We could talk about the death panels, the bureaucracy, the destruction of the best healthcare system in America. We could talk about that. But look what's happening. $1 billion to set that up in California of taxpayers' money. This is just California. $37 million in grants to 48 community groups and unions, holding 7,300 events. Each of these groups get $58 for each sign-up. There's 21,000 navigators in California, about 175,000 nationwide, getting as much as $90,000 a year to sign people up on Obamacare. They have $190 million for community outreach. I don't have time, but what community outreach is getting paid organizers to go into the community and build relationships, and then on election day get them to the poll. They have $225 million from the California, this is endorsement endowment. Plus, they're on all the high schools and colleges as an army. Where's some of this money go? What about these 48 groups? 500,000. Somebody with Spanish help me. Bienestar. Bienestar. Okay. You know what that is?
Well-being.
You know what the group is?
Never heard of them.
It's the Latino lesbian group.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Got $500,000 to sign up Latino lesbians and their friends for Obamacare. $980,000 to the East LA Community Group, which is all over the news as how corrupt it is. $2 million to the SEIU AFL-CIO. $940,000 to the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. $1 million to the Asian Americans Advancing Justice. To the Liberal California Council of Churches, $750,000. $694,000 Planned Parenthood. The left-wing, $435,000 Actors Fund. And $1 million to the LA Gay and Lesbian. Go on and on. It's activist, liberal, democratic groups organizing in communities, signing people up, and keeping that relationship to transform America. George Soros did a study, and he said Obamacare would register 68 million more people, dependent, reliant, and positive towards big government. What happened? Did you catch the news that happened last week? Not only when you sign up on Obamacare do the navigators try to get you to register to vote, they just sent out a massive mailing and follow-up campaign to everybody who signed up for California Obamacare to get them to register to vote. How many of those are going to be Democrats and how many of those are going to vote Democrat?
They are a non-partisan 501c3.
Oh, sorry, hit the button again.
We'll just get a small part of this if we can here. What this is Obamacare in Texas, undercover.
Partisan 501c3.
This is a 501c3, so it's purely a nonprofit. It's nonpartisan, non-political.
But even their volunteers believe they were a branch of the DNC.
Brian Pendleton speaking today. He is with Enroll America, which is the official group of the DNC.
Enroll America appears to be sharing data and working directly with a political action committee called Battleground Texas. Both groups are active in guiding people towards signing people up on the new government-run healthcare exchanges. Remember, providing data, mailing lists, or other valuable resources from a 501c3 to a political action committee is prohibited unless certain conditions are met.
America is an action campaign, but Enroll America is a 501c3 not-for-profit, non-partisan organization. Even though Battleground, Texas, we network with them, we work with them. Actually, I would love you to fill that up and put your name on that. How we can holiday working with Battleground, Texas, same data that for that one election, I can say that this is the same brainchild with Enroll America.
Just what exactly does Battleground Texas have planned?
We do have some outside money coming in. There's a group called Battleground Texas that has been funded by national money.
My name is Adrian Bell. Adrian Bell. I'm with Battleground Texas. And we're Democratic. I am.
Battleground Texas is a political action committee.
You never heard of Battleground Texas? We are new to the state. And we were started by President Obama's National Field Director.
Now, their purpose, simple term, is to turn Texas blue.
So we're a grassroots organization dedicated to turning Texas blue. Yes. Turn Texas into a battleground state.
If we can change that, we can change the course of elections. We can rule it.
This gives you an essence. I hope you heard some of that. But basically, they're working to get people into Obamacare. They're getting the data and the information. They're registering the vote. They're creating the relationship to get them to the polls to turn Texas Democratic. And they're doing that here in California. It's the new acorn. It's the new acorn. And this is something we have to register more Republicans. The third danger are these union groups, the organization databases. They're putting $3 million in this election for social media, $89 million into community mobilization. Here in California, the unions are more organized than most other states, with more data on every single voter. That they're so organized. The American Federation of Teachers hates charter schools. So what they're doing is they're sending reps to every charter school teacher and profiling them and developing relationship with them to destroy it. The liberal groups and the youth. As we start to conclude, let me just tell you about the youth. There's a thing called Netroot Nations. If you want to, you go to netrootnations.com, see the video of thousands of young people gathering to learn how to win political campaigns for the progressive left. They've got them all up there. They share their information, their test results. And they send them to boot camps. They've got 14,000 graduates right now. What happens in a week boot camp? You're trained in all the new media. You're trained in campaigns. And you pledge yourself to spend 1 to 2 years in Vermont or Utah or Washington or California to work on a campaign and make sure that campaign is using the most advanced messaging. Are we doing that to our kids?
Hell no.
Are we doing that to young Republicans? To young conservatives? We're not. So I'll tell you about a boot camp I created for something like this. Finally, ignoring modern database building, new media strategy, and field organization, we're going to lose if we do not start doing this. We need to know how to do web ads, email, and direct mail, and integrate them, and retargeting, how to create petitions for the databases. We need to do texting and mobile, Facebook, and micro-targeting, where you have database and media, and then the voter registration, early voting, and get out the vote, all integrated. You know, in my campaign, we started using iPads. Now, I wanted to put on the iPad all the information about the people they knocked on the door, and the consultant said, oh no, you can't do that. But the Democrats do that. We got to start building our database and doing this right. If we do it like we did 20 years ago, we're going to lose. So we can turn this around. And this is this audience. You know, in Arizona, well, first of all, let me just say this. We can have victory because America is on our side.
Mm-hmm.
In 2012, the population polls, the polls showed America was more conservative than in 1980 when Ronald Reagan got elected. It was more conservative going all the way back to 1952. When we talk about our core values, we win elections. They steal elections because they outdo us with a minority. You know, minorities win elections. Minorities win on issues. And we've got the majority on our side. We can bring these people out. You can do it. In New Mexico, for those of you who happen to be pro-life, there was an incredible campaign in Albuquerque to be able to stop partial birth abortion, and late-term abortions and stuff like this. And it was defeated, even though the majority of the people in Albuquerque would have gone along with it, because they did the Facebook, the Twitter, the integration. They outdid them on the local city level. They didn't know what hit them. In Arizona, there was a religious liberty bill that simply said if you're a business owner and you have a conscientious objection, it's against your religious belief to do something that would violate your conscience. The book of Acts says that you obey God, not man. Well, this bill simply affirmed that, but they twisted it to say it was the religious discrimination rights bill.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. They used messaging. And then they use Twitter to be able to drive businesses to say, we're withdrawing from Arizona if you pass this bill. And the people who are conservative and Christians who wanted to support that bill, they didn't do a thing. And the left took it over. And we see this city after city that they're using this. I'll give you an example in Washington, D.C. on something that was good, in my opinion. They wanted to outlaw the food trucks. So what they did is they did a Twitter and Facebook campaign to support the food trucks while all the politicians, all the restaurants and Chamber of Commerce and everybody was wanting to outlaw them. They won that issue because they got several thousands of people writing and calling City Hall and posting things on their Facebook. And it scared them. A small minority stopped a bad bill. But all over America, usually it's the other way around. We've got to be able to develop that talent. Here in this Republican club, to get 2 or 3 people who can do this, can train anybody else who wants to. And those who don't want to be trained can then follow along. You guys can do this. And the answer is here. So, what we need is to make sure we have an exciting message. We need database strategies, profiling, advanced marketing strategies. We have to have people who have commitment to walk and call and to donate. The left has more money than we do, and yet Republicans don't donate. They don't put it in wills. They don't put it in trusts. We need to have training, proper training. And there's people here in California who could train this group. We need the new technology for voter registration, model train voter ID, and community organization alliances. This club can have alliances with community organizations to build instead of being isolated with guns, pro-life, homeschooling, whatever it might be. And Margaret Thatcher said, we win when we stand for something. We don't need to compromise our values. We don't need to be silent on certain values. We don't need to sound like Democrats. We have a message that the majority believe in. We got to get that message out. So I'd like to have everybody stand. I'm going to show you an illustration, and we'll be done in about 2 minutes. Everybody stand. Remember I said community organizations. Now look around. Now you may be an atheist, an agnostic, you may be a Catholic, you may be mainline Protestant, you may be none. Doesn't matter. Look around this audience. Pretend that you're the evangelical church. Did you know the evangelical church votes 78% Republican? 78% Republican. Now I want this table to sit down, the rest of you stand. This table to sit down, this table to sit down, this table to sit down. Now look around, all these who are sitting. These are the evangelicals at the churches in this area who are not registered to vote. Your greatest voter registration effort is at the evangelical churches, not in front of Home Depot. I want this group to sit down. I want this group to sit down. I want this group to sit down. These are the evangelicals who actually voted in 2012. That's pretty disgusting. That's where you guys can sit down now. You need to make an alliance with some people at churches to set up tables, to talk to the pastors, to get the pastor on the side, to be able to pass out literature, voter guides at churches. And that's just one alliance. And you know the Democrats are trying to do it at evangelical churches? Do you know that? Wherever they can. So here's the evangelical vote. If you change 5, 10, 15%, we'll win even California. We'll win California. Because you're talking about millions of votes. 80 million evangelicals. 18% of California are evangelicals. Usually 15 to 25% of the total vote.
When you say 45 to 55 will not vote, is that of the registered evangelicals?
Of the registered evangelicals. Most pastors during the election of 2012 either mocked the idea that the election would mean anything, change anything, or ignored it. And very few had any information as people went to their cars. Now, at CraigHuey.com, if you signed up, you'll get the newsletter. If you like it, you can keep getting it. But also, I'll let you know about the election, about the judges. From Northern California to Southern California, we have every candidate rated either no endorsement, 1 thumb up, 2 thumbs up, 3 thumbs up. We so thoroughly vet the judges that we have it on a 6-point scale. So we have that coming up. So we've got victories we can have, but we've got to do it right. You're welcome. I'll send you information about the different websites I have. I even have if you like this idea of marketing, I have a marketing newsletter that we have as well. I would love to have you join me on Facebook. I would love to have you get my tweets. And we have a thing called the Youth Boot Camp. Now, if you like this idea of training, our first one, we trained 20 young people so far off the chart. They came back to their communities. Some are involved in a program to stop human trafficking. Some are involved right now in campaigns, different issues. They learn how to do this marketing. We're trying to duplicate Netroot Nations. And if you'd like to help out with that, one of the sheets being passed around is a sheet that is able to help with some donations for that. But what the boot camp does is, people don't know our ideas. There's distortions. There's branding and positioning weakness, lack of testing messaging, lack of marketing skills, and lack of media skills. We stop all that. We don't have time to listen to this, but these are the kids, some of the kids that we had, that we trained on how to do what the progressive left is doing. So if you could help out on that, that'd be really wonderful. All right, so we went over, and I apologize. I hope you found some value. So let me just leave you with this one last idea. You can get really depressed when you think what we're up against. You can really get depressed. But we can turn this around. Historically, I mean, everybody was depressed in the 70s, and Ronald Reagan won when nobody thought he would. You know, we were depressed when Obama first won election in 2008, and then look what happened in 2010. Well, Obama will outdo us in 2014 and 16 if we don't start implementing this, and you guys can do it. So feel free to email me. Feel free to help out with the boot camp if you can. And God bless you guys. Thanks.
Craig is absolutely right at what he's talking about. And as a matter of fact, I will tell you that our club has spent this last year doing very much of the same thing that he is addressing. It just happens to be this bald-headed gentleman sitting right here, Leo Walker, happens to be our computer expert, who has developed our website. Unfortunately, Hallie isn't here with us this evening. He's the one that's developing our Facebook and Twitter. And to me, all that stuff is foreign language to me. But it isn't foreign language to many of that population out there, these young people out there. They live on this kind of stuff. They eat that kind of stuff alive for lunch. And sometimes we sit here, we're looking at that computer and she was afraid it's going to break if I hit some of those keys, or I don't know how to find this. Oh, I don't need to know that. Well, that's all right. We can take that position, but we're going to lose. We are not going to lose. And I'll tell you why we're not going to lose is because people are finally starting to wake up and realize we're losing our country. And that is a very fearful thing to me. Not for me. I'm an old duffer. I'm a has-been. I'm on my way out the door. But that young lady over there, Alexis, who led us in the flag salute, she's going to come forward up here and going to be leading our nation. And we, as senior citizens, need to step forward and do everything we can to turn this thing around and turn it around now. Now, we're not going to turn it around here tonight. And yes, just like Huey said, it is frustrating when we look at this great, big, massive problem out here, and it is big. I don't want you to look at that big picture. Look at it and get frustrated if you want. But pick you a small area that you can do something about it, as simple as Roger Schulke sitting over here on his street, Stevens Street in La Crescenta. That guy knows every person on his street for 1 mile, well, half a mile in each direction from his house, because he is a guy that goes out, knocks on the door, and talks to him. And they, when he just tries to take a walk down the street, they come up, "Hey, Roger, what's happening here and there?" They've grown to know him, and each one of us take walks around our neighborhood. Matter of fact, if you're not, it should be just for exercise, if for no other reason. Bottom line is, there are lots of little things you can do. Don't worry about that great big picture. Start focusing in on something, and we've got tons of those things to focus in for. What we're trying to do here this evening, and what we'll be doing the 24th of next month, is give you the best education we can so you can make a good, sound, solid, educated vote when it comes up. Most important of all, to vote, but vote wisely. That is the trick to it. And it is frustrating, and I will tell you that on November 7th, 2012, I jokingly say that I went on suicide watch for about 2 months after that Obama won the second. I can't believe that we elected him again. We did. And Craig is telling us just exactly how we did it. We as a club have been doing ourselves as best we can to develop ourselves so that we can move and move fast in this election year, and more importantly, in the 2016 election year. But let's lighten up a little bit here. There's some people out here that's won themselves a dinner for next week. And who is that, by the way? Joni Taylor. This young lady works her tail off with the club. Most of you have probably talked to her on the phone at one time or another, as well as Mary Smith back there. And I don't forget Gary Smith, her husband, and Mary and Miles Woolen back there, hard-working folks. We got a dinner for somebody, and let this young lady right here draw the winning ticket there. Now think positive here and say to yourself repeatedly that you got it already. I'll bet it does. I'll bet it does. Oh, it does. Oh, fell down. Stay. Oh, no. How about number 072858? This is a little green ticket like this. It's 072858. Who's got that? Oh, a newcomer here. Marty, this is your first time to be here. Martha, first time to be here this evening. Well, I'm glad you came. And what you can do is put an arm lock on Jenny next to you and come next month. Now, we had a 50-50 drawing also. And Joni, how much money is somebody going to walk out this door with tonight? $100? Whoa!
We got to pay taxes on it?
Let Craig draw that ticket for us. Think Phil Downs, Craig. Think Phil Downs.
All right. 942503.
942503, did he say? Is that it? Who is it? Oh, this young fellow here. You know, $100 beautiful dollars. Again, I want to thank all you folks. I realize we're pushing up against 9. Yes, sir.
I'm donating my earnings. All right.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Now, I know we're running a little bit late here this evening, but I do want to say to each one of you, thank you for coming out this evening. Just the process of coming here this evening is doing more excuse me, than in sitting home in front of that TV and screaming at it. Or, in my case, every time Obama comes on, I have to change channels. I can't stand to look at him. But he is our president. He's embarrassing the living daylights out of me. But we're going to turn that around, and that's not the way that it's going to end up. Now, each one of you have a name tag on you this evening. If you'd please take that off and put it on your table here. We will pick it up this evening, so we'll have them for next month. I want you to go home and put April 24th. That's the last Thursday of next month. We're going to have a forum here with a wide range of candidates. They will each have a limited amount of time to speak to you. We'll also be seeking questions from you that we can ask these candidates. So start thinking about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next month. And again, thank you for coming this evening.